What I need to do is let my plate sit for a while, and I want it to start getting to leather hard, middle or late stage of leather hard, before I start adding and subtracting and carving into it. So I'm just going to take a piece of plastic like this and just lay it loosely over the plate like that in the cabinet overnight. Then I come in the next day and then I'm ready to work on it. But in the meantime, while that is drying, maybe if I've got more class time, maybe I can work in my visual journal. And I've got my planning page right here. So maybe I can work in here and start writing my story out, so that here's where my story is going to go. I can write it there so that I can take a snapshot of that and submit that. The important thing to do now is to let your plate, see it's right here underneath this plastic, is just to let it sit. Don't tuck your plastic underneath or don't slip it in the plastic and seal it. You want it to dry to leather hard, because now you're going to be doing some carving. You can also add, so do some additive process as well if you want. Just slightly. I would do low relief if you're going to do any adding. So in the meantime, I am going to work on getting my visual journal ready. I've already added some color. Maybe I want to add more color to it. And also writing out my story really nicely, so that when the students in the English class come over and want to question us and ask us questions about our piece, we have some content so that they can read, so that they understand it a little bit better. Here's my visual journal page, all completed. I added all the colors that I want to glaze, because now I need to be thinking about what this piece is going to look like with the finished product. So you need to add your colors here. Remember, this is Maiolica technique. There's going to be a lot of blending and mixing of colors going on. And then here is my story. This is a Maiolica plate depicting Marcus Curtius, otherwise known as Marco Curzio. He was a warrior of the Roman army. Legend says that Marco threw himself and his horse into a chasm to save the Roman people, sacrificing himself. A chasm is a deep crack in the earth created by an earthquake. This will give me some information to help the writers of the magazine if they choose my piece. This is going to give them some good content. So that is something you need to have completed while your plate is drying. Okay, this is the next day. So I have left this piece like this, literally, just with a little blanket of plastic over it. Then I came back in and I just used one of my needle tools, actually one of these little beaded tools, and I just started carving in, or just drawing in lightly, my image, okay? So then what I'm doing is I'm just going in and I'm kind of pulling out some areas. So if I want, like the horse's tail, if I want some of these areas to come out and be a little bit more predominant, I would just go in and kind of start carving out like that with one of these rib tools, okay? If you have a smaller rib tool than this, then use it, okay? You can also do your additive process. So I'll show you how I'm gonna start adding on to create more interest on my piece. What I've decided to do is go ahead and leave the horse the way it is and do a low relief with all of this decoration around the border, just a slight low relief. And then all the grass is going to be raised up just slightly. So what I've started to do is just make little blades of grass. So you're gonna make them individually over here. And then what you're gonna do is just kind of score and slip them on wherever you think. So I'm just gonna start doing some scoring down here. There's gonna be quite a bit. Put some slip on there. And then I'll score here. So it's just gonna be a little bit of a tedious process for a little bit, but I'm just gonna score and slip them on kind of like that, so you can kind of see, you know, it's gonna start having these pieces of grass kind of come up and just hiding the feet. I've been adding a few, so now you can you kind of see what's going on? Okay, so that's going to give it some dimension, and it's going to kind of highlight that area, which is going to really bring the viewer's eye into the picture because they're going to see the grass, and then the grass is all pointing upward, which is going to create a focus here. This is going to be the colorful area of the plate, so that's where all the focus is going to be with the Maiolica painting going on. And then of course I'll have the border with a little bit low relief as well. Okay, so that's kind of how you would work with your plate. It is still on the mold. You need to leave it on the mold. If you take it off the mold and start carving and messing with it, you're going to crack it. So please leave it on the mold. Okay, so I hope you have fun with this. The key is don't let it dry out or your plate will be ruined.